This podcast is a member of the Place to Be Nation family. Visit us at placetobenation.com, the only place to be in your pop culture world.
Place to Be Nation Pop Experience. Welcome back to Pop Goes Degrassi, where tonight we are going to be covering Season 2 of Degrassi Next Generation, Episodes 5 and 6. Episode 5 is called Weird Science, and Episode 6 is called Drive. But before we deep dive into our episodes, let me introduce my co-host of the pod, John Castellica. John, how are you doing tonight?
Grooney, I'm doing great. It's wonderful springtime here in Hanoi, Vietnam. But always great to revisit some Degrassi episodes with you. And these two in particular tonight are two that really stand out for me as episodes I saw time and time again when they were first on in those early 2000s years on the end. But for some reason, never really come around in syndication anymore. So it was nice to get back here.
Yes, especially the second episode that we're going to cover here. I remember watching it a lot on what it was, the N or Teen Nick, when they would do like the Degrassi marathons here and there. John,
what's crazy about that, Courtney, is I think the same thing. I used to see it on those marathons all the time. But then looking at the thumbnail for it, on YouTube when I pulled up the video, and it's them in the car. But then I was like, I don't know what this is going to be. Like what happens in this episode? And I clicked on it, I was like, oh no, I know this entirely. Like they're going to get the spray cheese and everything. But we'll get into that in a little bit.
Yeah, John, the last episode that we covered was a little sad towards the end, as Ashley has basically lost all of her friends except for Ellie, which we're going to cover into here tonight as well.
Yeah, huge progression for Ashley. It feels like, I guess we can talk about it when we get there, but feels like a lot happens off screen because the Ashley we see here is quite different from who we saw in the previous episodes.
Yeah, and then again, nothing moves forward with also Manny and Craig as well either.
Yeah, I think one of the kind of like overarching themes we'll see through these two episodes, particularly in the second, is kind of almost a limbo, but a comfortable limbo. It's allowing us to spend more time with these characters and let things kind of progress slowly. It's not that everything happens all at once and everything has to be a huge melodrama, a huge dramatic moment. I know Degrassi eventually will pride itself on it goes there, but we're going there in a more subtle point with these two episodes, I think.
Yeah. So let's deep dive into Weird Science. This is Season 2, Episode 5 of Degrassi Next Generation. Snake, or Mr. Simpson, Spike, and Emma are eating Chinese food in Emma's kitchen. She keeps on referring to Archie, as he likes to be called, as Mr. Simpson. But again, he says it's okay for her to call him Archie at home, and when they're at school, she can call him Mr. Simpson, obviously. But she again refers to him as Mr. Simpson.
Yeah, I thought this cold open here did a nice job of, setting the tone of, hey, maybe not all is so perfect in the Snake Spike relationship with Emma as that third wheel. I know we've seen them in the past couple episodes kind of growing together and her and Emma being happier for her mom. They had that little blowout and she's like, no, I am happy for you now. But it seems that tension is still back here, especially because he's maybe getting a little more comfortable visiting the house more often, having meals regularly, so that she is now reverting to that very much Mr. Simpson mode with him.
Yep. Yeah, and I guess she really isn't okay with it. I think it's from the school aspect, at least, because nobody at school knows that Emma's mom and Mr. Simpson are dating, except for Manny, basically.
True, yeah, and that'll come in big in this episode.
Yep. So it's also Science Fair week here as Emma is preparing her science project with healthy food items here. She's going to have her hypothesis that the healthy foods are going to help kids get more energy as well. Manny is also helping her with her science project, but not also Manny, because if you look in the background, you have Spinner as well doing jumping jacks and eating what he describes as granola and bananas too. So he for some reason, I don't know how he got roped into this, is helping Emma with this.
Right. Well, it's great to see, again, that crossover interaction between the two grades so that we can see we're not, kind of separating them out into their own stories. I love that we get some even conversations and scenes here with Emma and Spinner throughout the episode. But yeah, she's embarked on this science experiment to show that, eating a healthy breakfast can help you perform better in school. And somehow that involves jumping jacks and jump rope with as well.
Yep. Jimmy is trying to get a date with Ellie and convince her to go out with him, but Ellie says that Ashley is her best friend and she will not betray Ashley again. This is just thrown to the wall here.
Yeah, great for Ellie standing up for her friendship here, and Jimmy just quick to move on, right? He's his love of 7 months or whatever, with off that one night of ecstasy still lingering, and he's flirting with Ellie, trying to get a number. Nice to see her kind of into the fold a little more right away, that she's not just a fringe character. Looks like she's going to be here to stay.
Yeah, but I think we should have gotten like that a little more background of Ellie like comforting Ashley, and we don't. It's like, oh, they're all of a sudden they're best friends.
Yeah, as she says, she's my best friend. All we've seen is that Ashley sat down on the ground next to you at the locker, right? It
was like, yeah, nice move, Ashley, but yeah, I'm here for you. God. Jimmy tries to get Spinner to move, but Spinner embarrassingly has an erection. Jimmy says it's hormones, but Spinner says it has to do with Emma's science project and the food.
Yep. Immediately drawing connections here. So Spinner is doing some science on his own, and maybe you should discuss these kind of results with Emma, you would think. But a funny scene, really, really funny scene here with him and Jimmy as he's trying not to say exactly what's wrong. He's using some euphemisms throughout. Jimmy's just not putting it together, and we finally settle on, hey, the memorable line delivery from Spinner of "I have a boner," and Jimmy springing to action with the binder to help Spinner walk through the hallway.
Yeah, I don't know. A lot of friends who would help with their classmates' boners.
I was going to say, I think this is a nice testament to the friendship between Jimmy and Spinner, that Jimmy is, kind of helping him through this. He could kind of just like laugh at him and leave him there. And maybe we see a little more of that side of Jimmy later. But right now, no, he's got his buddy's back.
Yeah. Miss Hatsalakos is overseeing the science projects, and JT needs help with this as he tries to get a little closer to Miss H as well. So JT, again, being a clown.
Absolutely. And since we know is one of the subjects of Emma's experiment, we're seeing that he's kind of flailing around with the science project. It's kind of spilling all over the place, but he's also doing his flirtation with Miss H at the same time. Yeah, Emma's kind of frustrated with her two subjects here of Spinner and JT because the healthy food doesn't seem to be having the positive effect she had thought it would.
Yeah, so then Emma is going over her results when she realizes that JT lied to her about eating healthy, or like what the healthy food was actually doing for him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she confronts JT and Toby about this, and Toby's like, "Hey, the healthy food tastes terrible, so why would he want to have it?" And that's why it doesn't work. It doesn't have good effects.
Yeah, and apparently Terry was also in this project too.
We don't get much of Terry in this episode, but at least we get a mention that she still exists. That's good.
No, yeah, but I remember Emma was going over the results, and you see Terry's picture.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Hey, Grooney, what do you think of this science fair projects? Kind of I love that it kind of felt like they just grabbed whatever props they could, or kind of things they could make out of cardboard and threw them in there and called it like a science project to help fill the scene. Toby for some reason is dressed like a robot, wearing like cardboard robot parts. Even though we learn later that his project is about surveillance. I thought this was hilarious just looking at the scene, and I loved Liberty coming out and bragging about her project, which is on the study of light deprivation and the effects of light deprivation on household plants. Literally, if you leave plants in the dark, what happens to them?
Mm-hmm. Photosynthesis. You have to understand that.
Liberty. So, but kind of in this scene, we see also that reemergence of the Liberty character we had seen very early in the show of the, brainiac and kind of high on herself, confident but annoying version of Liberty coming through here in the science fair.
Yeah, it's going to get worse as well. Spinner runs into Ellie, but then he basically just runs off again because he's having a boner.
Yes. Even the brushing up against her triggers the effect. So get out of there, Spinner.
Mm-hmm. Then Mr. Simpson wants to help Emma, but she wants no part of it, which I think is a good thing on Emma, even though Mr. Simpson is her mom's boyfriend. Helping her, it's like, oh well, the teacher helped me.
Right, and I think you get a good sense. I like the way this is shot of how Mr. Simpson is really kind of, I don't want to say invading, but I'm sure it feels that way to Emma, of invading her space, in being in that house. The house is not big, the set they use for it. And he's gigantic, sitting on the couch with Spike, and Emma's 20 feet away, from them in a separate room, but still so close. And then when he comes in, is looming over her project, trying to help. I think you can kind of empathize with her here, because it's man, he is at school, her teacher all day, and now he's at the house. I could see why she might be getting frustrated with this.
Yep. Mr. Radich is overseeing seeing everyone's science project as it is science fair day. John, did you have a science fair day?
We did not, no. And that goes for middle school, junior high, and high school. No actual science fair. If we did science projects, they were just for the classroom assignments, and they were restricted to that.
Yeah, no one. I don't feel like anyone really had a science fair judge thing. I really think that this is for TV and movie purposes only.
Good point. Yeah, they exist only in TV and films. The science fair, the school-wide science fair of, oh boy, I'm gonna win this prize. Although I will say, Grooney, here in Vietnam, we do have science competitions and such, but those are more outside of school and usually have to do with robotics or programming. I don't think they're more in the vein of let's study light deprivation on household plants like we get here in the greater Toronto area.
Yep. Mr. Raj sees JT's project first. JT says he has a better alternative for breast implants without using silicone.
Unbelievable. Yeah, he's made a replacement for silicone breast implants that uses water, flour, and lard. I think it's well designed here. I love the production design of these kind of clumsy looking. It looks like basically taped together Ziploc bags or so that look like they would fall apart like a second. Nobody would feel comfortable putting that in their body. I think it just kind of goes to the inept student or the not so prized science student that JT is here, and plays into that aspect that he's eating the junk food or not healthy food here, or he's eating the healthy food and it's not working for him.
Reminds me of Ralph Wiggum winning the science fair for the Star Wars diorama.
Absolutely, yeah. Another famous science fair that comes from TV. Yeah, right. The diorama.
He beat the smart kids.
He sure did.
Yeah. Excuse me, Toby.
We'll have to make that a mission. Like, if you have friends who have kids or anything, like, try to find out. Like, let's see where there is like the last existing science fair that actually takes place in a high school or middle school. I'm fairly confident from this conversation they probably just don't really exist, and TV has lied to us all the time.
TV has lied to us a lot of times.
Yeah.
Toby is showing off his, what you said, I thought it was a robot project, but apparently now it's surveillance too. Like, what is
friend or foe? He's still wearing the robot arm though while he talks about it.
Yeah, Toby has no idea what his project was.
Amazing. And then we have a great interjection from, once again, here's snobby Liberty trying to one up everybody. She's like, as they come around to look at Emma's project, she goes, well, 2 of her subjects produce irregular results. I love just like that smart kid annoying like aspect from Liberty here. It's I usually find her very, very obnoxious, but I thought it was on point here. Good job, Liberty.
Yeah. Manny is eating a chocolate bar, but also, before we get into that, Liberty gives her assignment to Mr. Simpson, and she's going over the day number 1, day number 5, day number 7, and then Mr. Simpson's like, thank you, Liberty, I get the point.
Yeah, she was at day 146 or 148 and said she had 52 more hours left. So, kudos to Liberty for really, really putting in the time, but I don't know. I think we all could have predicted that the plants would wilt if they didn't have light. But
yeah, I think it was a cactus too, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Manny is eating a chocolate bar, and she says that chocolate actually makes her happy. So then Emma gets a bright idea to change her whole theory on her science project here, as she now says that junk food makes people like happy too, and that you need like a balanced diet between healthy food and junk food, because if you put in the right balance, you can think straight, basically.
Yeah, I think her conclusion was here, like, it depends on what food you enjoy or what are the things you enjoy. So if you're eating something you like, as Manny said, oh, the chocolate bar, it tastes like happy. She was like, oh, that's it. And so for JT, who likes burrito, she says he likes burritos and pizza. So when he eats that, he does better. And when he would eat, the granola, it led to frustration and annoyance and him not doing as well in school. So she's seeing that connection instead of the necessary, like, oh, you're just getting nutrients, like she thought for the first part, and as her initial hypothesis was, and so she shifts it here. So good job on Emma. This scene of her running through the hallway, I think the N or whoever used it in promo clips so many times. I just remember that awkward gait of Emma running down the hallway, right?
Jeez. Yeah.
It would be like, hurry home because this weekend we've got 24 hours of Degrassi, and we'd have the Emma clip running.
Spinner is convinced that eating sugar will stop him from getting erections, but Jimmy again tries to convince him it's not his diet, it's hormones.
I love it. This is such a great adolescent way of thinking, and I think it's so authentic in Spinner. He's like, hey, if one thing is having a positive or the effect I don't want, if I do the exact opposite of it, it should counter that, right? I think I did this with cold medicines when I was in high school, and I had to go play a concert with a band, but I was at home sick, and I'd taken some like NyQuil type of like drowsy medicine, and I was like, oh no, I have to go play this afternoon. I'm going to be sleepy. So I was like, oh, I'll take like 5 of the like non-drowsy, and that'll counteract it, right? Just that like idiot way of thinking that we have at that point. I think Spinner really captures that in a good way here.
Yeah, so we'll see how Spinner attempts to solve his problems. The results are in, John, and Emma wins the science fair. Liberty says it's because Mr. Simpson was the judge. So we're getting snobby Liberty here.
Yeah, she thinks Emma's a kiss up in class. That's all for now, she thinks, is the reason for why Emma is getting this. She calls her a teacher's pet, and Manny says she's just jealous. And I'll be honest with you, Grooney, I could have sworn this was where our episode ended, pretty much, that we had this. But then I noticed, hey, we're only like 15 minutes in. So I had forgotten that we have this whole back half to it.
Yeah, there's more to it. As again, we go back to Spinner and Jimmy. Jimmy gets mad because Spinner got Ellie's number, but Spinner tells him that he is a chick magnet. And then, just a bunch of like nonsense between these two here. I guess Spinner went back to eating sugar, and he thinks, oh, my problems are over, and now I can be a nice guy and get all these girls' numbers here.
Yeah, he actually he marked it to giving it credit to the fruit and the healthy food. He said, oh, one thing I noticed, even though I'm having constant erections, was that more girls are noticing me or are being nicer to me. Even Lunch Lady Doris, or she's not Lunch Lady Doris in this. I forget her name.
Lunch Lady Sheila. Lunch Lady Doris.
Crossing over my famous TV cafeteria workers here, but no, he's like, yeah. Even she said I look good today. So he's now he believes the healthy food is making him more attractive. So he's going back to that. And yeah, you're right. This kind of ticks off Jimmy because, Spinner has got Ellie's number, and that was obviously something Jimmy was trying to do earlier. So that good relationship these guys have had going, the supportive aspect of Jimmy is now maybe going to disappear and go in a different direction.
Mm-hmm. Mr. Simpson is teaching about motherboards on computers when Manny sends an email to the class. So they were having a chat, and instead of saying reply, Manny hit the reply all button, and it's like basically saying that Simpson has the hots for Emma's mom, and it's now been told that Mr. Simpson and Emma's mom are dating, so Manny gets detention for that as well.
Yeah, and we see Liberty opening the message and, kind of doing the very comic book villainish, like putting her hands together as she now has a plan and sees things falling into place for her based off this folly from Manny and Emma's, sheer embarrassment here. It makes me glad that we didn't, when I went to high school, we didn't have, computers or emails to like send to the entire class at that time. So I don't know what would have been included.
Yeah, so Liberty says basically that Mr. Simpson was biased. Emma runs to Mr. Simpson, and Emma thinks that Mr. Simpson let her win. But the judging sheet says otherwise as Emma looks at all the judges' scores here. And then we go to Miss Kwan's class. Jimmy volunteers spinner for improv with Paige. Jimmy basically sets up Spinner to be embarrassed as he's up there. He gets another erection and he faces the other way. Miss Kwan goes, "Gavin, turn around. You need to be facing the audience for improv." Spinner turns around and he runs away. And again, it was the lonely housewife and the delivery guy from Jimmy as his idea.
Yeah, this is one of the more early memorable moments from Degrassi, and one that they replayed and always like look back as a highlight from the show. Is this scene? From a comedic standpoint, just from a like really kind of fun scene. I don't know how they establish volunteers in Canada, but apparently volunteer means that Jimmy can just say that you're going to be in the scene, as we had here. The classic, scene of Spinner running away after being, at full mast in track pants, and Paige getting the kicker of, "Hey, that's why no one should wear track pants." Takes us out of this scene. So a really, really fun moment. And yeah, Jimmy kind of getting back at Spinner in a way after Spinner got Ellie's number. Because he knows, hey, if I put Spinner up there with a girl, this could definitely lead to an embarrassing moment for him. And sure enough, it did.
Yeah, Spinner and Jimmy are in the cafeteria now, and Spinner still thinks it's the health food, but Jimmy again says it's hormones. And then lunch lady Sheila comes in, and Jimmy asks, "What do you do? Does eating have to do with erections?" And lunch lady Sheila actually thinks it's Jimmy who's having this problem, but it's really Spinner, and they just laugh it off.
Yeah, she actually confirms for them. She says, "You guys are teenagers. At your year, it's at your age, it's hormones going nuts. Don't think about food. Like that's all it is." But she says, "Don't worry, Jimmy. You'll be okay." So since he was the one who posed the question, obviously she assumed it was Jimmy, who was having the problem.
Yep. Emma then talks to Mr. Simpson about her behavior today, and Simpson assures Emma that things will be the same, and that he will treat Emma the same as any other kid in the class. John.
Yeah, I liked this kind of bookending to the opening that we had of her being upset with their relationship, and her calling him Mr. Simpson very glumly in that entire opening, to now where they are kind of connecting instead. And we have them kind of with the first name off or nickname off at the end as they kind of playfully tease each other back and forth. Nice to see that Emma is coming back around to being okay with this relationship, because it seems like it's going to be here for a while. So, she can accept that Mr. Simpson, Archie, Snake, however you want to say it, being a part of the family, really.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and she does call Simpson Snake as the episode ends. So she gets the nod that everything is going to be okay, and that she accepts Snake as part of her life now.
Yeah, we freeze on Emma smiling, and I gotta say, I think this is the first episode in how many that we actually close on somebody happy. right?
Yeah.
This was a pleasant change in that way. Like this was a really nice episode, I thought.
Yeah, and now it's going to go back to Glumland at the end of our next episode here. Well, it serves him right because it's his fault, but we'll get into that too. MVP, John, I have Mr. Simpson as our MVP.
Wow, I was thinking about that as well. Does it go to Mr. Simpson? He's obviously a key part in building the trust back with Emma here and all that. But I gotta say, he's never been one of my favorite characters. And early on in these seasons, like I think the character's been really cartoonish. But this was, for a B plot, Spinner did a great job and really kind of could have gone so overboard with this, but instead it was really kind of dialed down and more realistic and really more genuine. I thought there was great camaraderie between him and Jimmy. You could genuinely feel that friendship between them this time. And even when they got angry with each other and Jimmy's trying to pull a prank on him, it didn't you could see why they would be easily able to make up. So I thought Spinner, he was sort of involved in the A plot, but his B plot, he was great for this. So I gave him MVP.
Yep. LVP, John, I had a coin toss, but I was convinced to give it to this person. My coin toss was between, obviously, Liberty and Jimmy, because that's such a cruel, that's so, really mean that you would think that they weren't even friends. Jimmy is just always the jealous, bitter person towards Spinner and to Sean for that matter. And for you to set up your friend like that, it's really just, it's not cool. But they laugh it off oh, it's okay, I forgive you, which is weird because I would not forgive my friend in the same day for setting me up like that. But I'm going to go with Liberty because she's so bitter and jealous of when she doesn't win, and it's so annoying.
Yeah. I'm with you. I hate to because she does such a good job with the character, acting wise and really displaying this. But yeah, Liberty, I like her callback to recognizing that, hey, I was a vicious a victim of rumors last year. So I know how this can feel, but instead of, sympathizing with Emma, she's like, so you need to do the right thing and turn over the prize, right? She tries to use it to her advantage instead. So yeah. LVP Liberty. We neglected to mention the winner of the science fair. Did you notice this? And to me, this was the most one-off of one-off characters. I don't think we ever see this person again, this young woman in the wheelchair who is being presented an award and finishes her speech with maybe one day people will realize that the wolf is actually our friend. I don't know what the hell this was in the middle of this episode.
Oh yeah, the 7th grader who won the 7th grade science project. And if that's if that's the next class, where's Sav and the rest of them? Where's Liberty's brother, Danny?
Yeah, but what an odd scene to include, or what a line. It feels and this could be the case. I wish I should have tried to research this a bit more before. This feels like it could have been a win a role on Degrassi contest winner, and you get you send away and you get picked, and they're like, you'll get a line in a Degrassi episode, and this was her prize.
Oh God, that would have been even better too. It's I win a 7th grade science fair and I won a Degrassi contest. Yep. All right, John, let's move on to episode 6. This is called Drive. Well, let's also put that there's really no mention of Hazel, Terry, Marco, Jimmy. No, wait, no, not Jimmy. Marco, Craig, and Sean in this episode.
Yeah, those
And
are some
actually,
MIA characters definitely in this one. I don't even think they were in Miss Kwan's class during the improv scene, were they?
I think they were just like in there, like just smiling and laughing too. But no Sean and no Ashley as well.
Well, we'll get a full dose of Ashley in this episode, won't we?
Yeah, so it's like our turn to be on, your turn to be off. So
yeah.
Again, we're getting a lot of character development here, and this is actually going to be the first episode we see like the real Marco. I don't even know if whoever plays Marco was in the episode where the dance off episode, John.
Yeah, I'm with you. For years, I thought like that's a totally different person, and he didn't have any lines, so there was no way to see it. But watching it again this year, I was like, I slowed it down. I was like, no, that's our Adamo Ruggiero or whatever his name is that comes up. But yeah, I think this episode becomes our first episode with real lines from Marco, and it is. I mean, this is our first real Craig focused episode since that season premiere, the 2-parter we had. Right, this is the first real Craig dominated episode we get.
Yeah, it is here. So this is episode 6, Drive. Joey is selling cars, and Craig is also trying to sell a car on the lot as well. And Craig is actually successful in getting the person to buy the car. And then Joey tells Craig to take the car to like the car wash or clean the car off the lot. So Craig drives the car, John.
Oh yeah, he's excited. He's throwing the keys as he's just helping around the lot, waxing on, waxing off, helping out with Joey, and then even chatting with the customers, giving that very like, oh man, you gotta take this car. Check out how much it would like turn the corner. You'd be catching everybody's eye. And the Jones like, really? You think so? And we get a busy day, it seems like, at Jeremiah Motors as Joey was running back and forth between customers. But yeah, Craig is toss the keys. Hey, go wash it up. You can move it around. Good for Craig getting to drive the car at age 14. When was your first time getting to sit behind the wheel, Greeny?
Same time as Craig. Yeah, my cousin was like, "Oh, we'll just go drive it up the street and back around." I was like, "Okay."
Yeah, my dad had said, "Oh, you want to back the car out of the driveway?" So before we were leaving for school, I was like, "Sure." And I hopped in. I got in the car. I put it right into drive and drove forward into the like log pile that was at the end of the driveway. And he was like, yeah, we're not doing that one again, John. So definitely not a good thing. And then years later, I was working at Penske Truck Leasing, and I remember having to go get a tractor trailer, a tandem tractor to pull around for a customer. I was like, now I'm going to drive a truck? What the hell? And it was like just the same thing again, although there was no log pile there for me to have to drive into. So but yeah, good old Craig getting tossed the keys here, definitely feeling good about himself, kind of like Henry Hill in Goodfellas. I can't even see over the steering wheel, but I'm moving cars. Let's go, Craig.
Yep. Joey is going away for a weekend, and Joey says Craig can actually stay home alone. And Craig was not expecting it too. He's like, where do I go? Because we see that Craig even says, like, my dad would never allow this. Yeah. And Joey's like, Craig, I trust you enough, man. I know you're not going to do anything wrong. Like, you seem like a good kid. So Joey leaves Craig the keys to the house, and he says you can have three friends over, no drinking, no parties, and no girls. So yeah. Craig's like, oh, you got it.
He says, you're 14, you know how to cook. Like, what's the big deal? Craig's been living with him for 2 months now. 3, like, what's our timeline here? Do you think you would feel that comfortable with a 14-year-old to leave him your house for the weekend there, Grooney?
I don't know, but I think I really don't know. But I think Joey's going back to his old high school days. Oh yeah, my parents let me home all the time.
Yeah, or he's also just trying to be the cool dad, the cool stepdad.
Cool dad, yeah. Right. Yeah. Jimmy tells Spinner and Marco he had no luck getting Kid Elbridge tickets. And then
Kid Elric, the one of the Kid idols of Degrassi. Yeah.
Yeah. Kid Elric tickets. Craig invites them, but he also invites Sean over as well. Jimmy then backs out because of all the things that happened last year, John.
Yep, yeah. Jimmy and Sean still very much, that divide. They had the fight in basketball. Sean, hooked up with Ashley when she was on ecstasy, but she and Jimmy were broken up at that point. There's a lot of kind of hurt feelings between the two as well, especially on Jimmy's side. So we will. He's going to sit out the party at Craig's house. But you know what? That's okay. I don't think we get many. It'll be years till we get any real Jimmy Sean interactions. They're pretty good at maintaining that these two just don't like each other.
Yeah, and I thought they had actually. I thought they had actually had both of them in the hangout here. I thought there were five guys in the car, but I forgot that Jimmy had backed out because he didn't want to be with Sean. I thought that this was the first Jimmy and Sean interaction since the events at Ashley's house.
Yeah, hey, we could only afford so many actors this episode. Jimmy, take this one off. Yeah. Deliver your 2 lines, say I'm out, and good, we got you. We got you wrapped for the whole episode.
Yep. Ashley and Ellie are going over their weekend plans, and Ashley wants to get her belly button pierced. So Ashley is trying to be more like Ellie now.
Yeah, this is our real This is an introduction to Ashley's, new look. We had seen her
the goth look. Yeah, this is her signature look for three more years, maybe even a little bit more.
This is out of nowhere. The last we saw her, she was in the sweatshirt, with the school photo, right? Feeling bad for herself. So this is quite a dramatic change to see right away here. But yeah, and Ellie's like, oh, I've got a busy weekend. I'm going to get my cartilage pierced, and Ashley is admiring Ellie's belly button ring, and she's like, I don't know, you think I should get one? And she says, yeah, come along with us. We'll come along this afternoon. You can meet the piercer, see if he can fit you in. So we're going to be off to a Toronto piercing shop, which sounds like an exciting location for us to visit.
Mm-hmm. The guys are in English class, and the clock is slow, and then they walk up to Craig's house at the end of the day. So it's Friday, and Joey tries to pull a joke on them, but it's not funny. Oh, you invite the whole class, it's only 4 people. He's like, yo, I'm just kidding. So Joey's trying to be the cool, funny dad, but to no avail. And then Joey gets the guys all the snacks, chips and Kraft macaroni and cheese. That'll settle him over for 3 days.
Oh yeah, absolutely. He knows what the 14-year-old kids are into these days. Chips, and Kraft dinner. Kraft dinner is what they call it. That's our great Canadian moment of the episode. The branding of Kraft dinner, as it's called in Canada, as opposed to Kraft mac and cheese, as we see here in the States.
And then he goes off of his day, and she's a smoke show.
Yeah. Boys get to see how the other half lives here with Joey, and they are definitely impressed. I think Sean lives with an adult, and his older brother Tagger, I don't think he sees this kind of talent kind of coming around the house too often.
Yeah. Ashley and Ellie go to the piercing store. Ellie gets her ear pierced, or I don't even know what she did. And then they have an opening tomorrow, so Saturday, for Ashley to get her belly button pierced. But then the piercing guy says, "Oh well, I need your mom's permission." So I guess Ellie got her mom's permission long ago, or her dad's permission, and now she could just get whatever she wants pierced because, you don't need more than one permission slip.
Yeah, well, I guess she says he's a family friend, and she's been going there for a while. I love how they definitely they build up around some of the fear that Ashley is having here. We see her face to face with the longhorn skull that's hanging in the piercing parlor that kind of gives her the heebie-jeebies, and then looking at the needles. I love the interaction of her and Attila, the piercer, where she's like, "Oh, is that the kind of needle you'll use for my belly button?" And he says, no, I'll be using a much bigger one. Very much playing into, wow, Ashley is probably going to start having cold feet about this, but seems like she wants to forge ahead, although she might have a new built-in excuse with this need to ask her mother.
Yeah. So we'll see how this pans out with Ashley trying to get her mom's permission. The guys are bored and start to argue, because that's what you do when you let your boredom get to you. You start to argue and almost get into a fight. Spinner gets spray cheese from the gas station. I think the guys were thinking that he could score beer, like he was gonna score them beer. Beer.
Yeah,
too,
they definitely went along with him. He was like, what'll be really fun, what'll turn this up, and they go. Excuse me, they go off with him, definitely expecting something bigger. And out comes Spinner with 3-4 cans of spray cheese that, we did it at camp. Let's go speed race through eating some spray cheese.
The guys are so unimpressed here. Then Ashley gives her mom the permission slip, and her mom signs it. No reluctance there, and she's like, go ahead, do it, if this will make you happy. And Ashley's like, oh my god, thank you, Mom. Spinner finishes the spray cheese. Marco sets up Sean to a prank call, and he has no idea who Marco dialed. It ends up being Emma, and she's like, out of all the things to do, you prank call your ex-girlfriend. She knew it was Sean right away, and Sean just freaks out right there.
Yeah, and that really, his kind of throwing the phone at Marco and them arguing, that really gets the guys back kind of happy and enjoying their time together as they're pranking each other as much as they were in the prank call there. I love the feel of this episode. I like the feel that they're just, we're just hanging out, and there is nothing going on, but it's still an enjoyable time for them. It's something as simple as just sitting in the living room, eating chips, and apparently watching Spinner race through some spray cheese.
I guess not a whole lot of interaction as well between Sean and Marco, because Marco is really basically going to Jimmy and Spinner's little crew as well. They become a force too. So it always seems like Sean is on the outs of just trying to the outsider coming in, even though he's been to Degrassi before.
Yeah, Sean's really just established as Craig's friend from students in his grade, and then friends with Emma and the 7th graders, right? That's kind of it. And he's on the outs with the grade 7 kids now because of breaking up with Emma. So it's really just Craig for him.
Yeah, and he'll just go with the flow, whether they're Jimmy's friends as well or Craig's friends for that matter too. But Craig at least was trying to get everyone together.
Yep. Absolutely.
Craig lets slip that he drove a car off the lot, and then the guys convince Craig to steal a car off of Joey's lot. The next morning, Craig is hesitant to get the car. Reluctantly he goes into Joey's car lot, and he takes a car too. The phone rings and they don't answer the phone too, and they grab a car and they take off with it.
Yeah. What did you think of this, this notion where I liked, again, that scene of them just sitting outside and they seem really to be enjoying themselves, peaceful, just doing nothing. And we get Craig reflecting on, hey, this is so much different than when I was with my dad. Joey is a really great parent. He really lets me do anything. And then he reveals like, yeah, I drove and it was awesome. It was a great feeling. And, like you said, the guys start encouraging him, hey, you probably know where the keys are. We could probably just go take a car, drive it around for a little bit and bring it back. What do you think about the fact that Sean was actually encouraging him here? I wouldn't think, I thought it was a bit out of character for him. He seems like, even though he's had a troubled past, that he's a bit more practical thinking and might not be the one to go along with something like this right away.
No, I definitely think Sean would have been all for it with Spinner. Like Spinner and Sean, they come from the same brain of, oh, we're rebels and this is gonna be fun and we can do this. Marco, okay, yeah. We'll see that Marco was the one who was level-headed and be like, dude, this is so wrong. No way.
Right. I love the scene. I think it's some great comic relief with them in the office and the phone's ringing as they're, there's a jump scare for them at the phone. And then they're like panicking over, what do you do? What do we do? And do we answer it? Finally, just, settling on the key, getting in the car. Spinner's like, why are we taking this awful car? But it's the only one that Craig really knows how to drive. And sure enough, after a quick false start and the engine kind of giving out, the engine is fired up and they're off. They're off and running.
Yep, the guys are driving the car around the block and they hear on the radio that there is a radio contest to win Kid Elric tickets for his concert tomorrow night. So Sunday night is the concert. I put 2 and 2 together, or that Saturday night was the concert. I really don't know, but they have the opportunity. And Spinner's like, dude, we got to go get those tickets. Drive to the park. It will be fine. And again, Craig just, instead of just putting the car back, he goes along with the plan to drive to the park.
Yep. Yeah, they're driving to the park, and he said, oh, it'll take us, 10 minutes if we run across. They're like, run, we've got a car, let's go. And so here we go, off to see Carla Collins, DJ in the park, and try to win some Kid Elric tickets. I love how they just drive the car directly up to her when they get there. There's no parking lot needed or anything for these guys, but maybe, being a first-time driver, that's how who would react. He just drives directly up to the woman asking trivia questions to win the tickets.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Ashley is laying down while the piercing is going to happen, but at the last minute, she backs out. The guys win the concert tickets by answering the trivia question right. Who was Kid Elric married to? And Craig says, oh, well, he wasn't married because now he's divorced. So Craig, that answer is correct, and they win the tickets.
Yeah, I'm not so sure. I kind of second guess this question from the trivia question from the radio station from Carla Collins here. What is the name of Kid Elric's wife? And it's like, that's a trick question. He's divorced. You're right. It seemed like such a mean-spirited question to use. Like, you think the kid's like, come on, guys, don't need to remind me of my divorce here and giving away tickets to my concert? Like, what's that about, Carla?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They pull up next to a cop car, and Sean's like, yo, just be cool, man. And, Craig's being, the cool driver, he belongs on the road as an adult. The sirens go off, but the cops are going somewhere else for an emergency call. That whole ordeal, that little shtick of, oh, what if the cops are here for us? Maybe they know we stole the car. So, again, that old cliche there. They go back to the lot, and Joey is waiting for them. He sends Spinner, Marco, and Sean home, and Craig's in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, Craig, as absolutely the silent alarm triggered and brought Joey back from his weekend getaway, and he is not happy with these guys. Sends the boys off and leaves Craig like, we're going to talk about this at home, and I'm sure we're going to get some punishment. And this is a side of Joey we have not seen at all up until now.
Nope.
So definitely come a long way from the cool dad bringing chips and mac and cheese and letting kids stay at home to, hey, time to lay down the law. And we'll see how this plays out for them in the next scene, because this is a pretty key moment for Craig, who's not had the best father figures in his life so far.
No, and I want to know how a silent alarm works, especially back in like 2002, I would say, because we all know how the ring cams work.
Mm-hmm.
You hit the button and then you can just see on your phone here. Like, what would the silent alarm like just trigger off of Joey's pager or something? That's like an alarm went off.
Yeah, it could be that. In all honesty, part of that phone ringing in the office may have been the alarm company calling to say like, hey, there's been an alarm triggered. Is there, something to look at? And where you could have given them whatever security code to say, oh no, it's a false alarm. Sorry. And who knows?
Yeah.
Maybe that plays.
I wonder
into
if they called Joey on like his cell phone too, if he has one. Yeah. I think he does.
Of course. Come on. That's Joey Jeremiah Motors.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So then Ashley and Ellie are walking out, and Ashley admits that she's afraid of needles, and she just wanted to be cool. And Ellie's like, you don't have to be cool by getting a piercing, Ash. We're friends. So that wraps up very nicely.
Yeah, so and maybe that explains a bit about Ashley's kind of shift in look, is that attempt to fit in. And this was just one step too far. She wasn't going to take it. And, she gets that reassurance from Ellie here. So maybe she will, although I don't think in future episodes she tones down the the darker look that much, but she's been given that permission to, at least here.
Mm-hmm. Joey tells Craig to sit down, and Craig's like, you're not my dad. And that's what I think blows Joey's top off there. Joey says Craig broke trust with Joey, and then Joey tells Craig that he's grounded for like 3 weeks, and then Joey rips up the concert tickets as well too. So Craig has to say that, instead of just ripping up Craig's ticket, he ripped up all 4 tickets to really show Craig a lesson here, because then the guys did go along with it, and they're like really suspects of a crime. So Joey did the right thing of grounding them all in a way from going to the concert here. Again, sad music playing in the background, but a lesson learned that Craig crossed the line and Joey did the right thing.
Yeah, and we're left in limbo wondering, what is this relationship going to be with Craig and Joey moving forward? Craig has had one father figure let him down before, but I think Joey shows here he's not in effort going to be like, he's not going to resort to that violence or anything. Craig doesn't have to worry about that from him, but he still needs to, follow some rules and show some common sense here. That's what Joey is most kind of disappointed in with Craig. And he's, I think Joey does a good job of, toning it down and not being all high volume screaming and yelling here. But instead, trying to show that he cares about Craig and wants him to, to just behave and not get himself in trouble, because it could really be tragic in some ways. At the same time, not definitely the first signs of like chinks in the armor. This is not the dream scenario maybe Craig had been pontificating about when he was with the guys over the weekend and saying how great this setting is right now for him. Yeah,
because again, he's not getting hurt.
Yeah.
He's allowed to have his friends over, just chilling on the stoop, and everything's going all happy for Craig, and he screws up. So Craig's going to have to deal with the consequences, but they're not going to be seriously consequences where he's going to be thrown out of the house. It's just the grounding, and learning your lesson here. MVP, John, I was thinking of two people. I was going to give it to Ashley for making the right decision, but I'm going to give it to Joey here because Joey plays the parent role here very, very well. Being all scared of what the heck were you guys thinking and everything too. So Joey is very much stepping up to a parent now, because he really trusted Craig and he let Craig have it. So I'm going with Joey.
You just in hearing you talk there, you really win me over to this, and I would go with that as well. I think it's easy to vote Craig as the MVP here since the episode centers so much around his story and everything. But he's also just kind of making some dumb decisions and not really helping his cause in any way here. Whereas Joey we see that he's doing everything really he can for his not exactly son, but his stepson and his even his friends, from that effort to be the cool dad and, trying to bring him along, working at the dealership, helping him there to, becoming a disciplinarian when he needs to and looking out for him to not do something stupid that he could have really, ended up hurt or arrested or something like that, in this case. So, yeah, I think Joey's a great choice here for MVP. LVP is a different story. I had no idea really what to do with this.
I did. LVP, I'm going to give it to Craig because Craig here just took full advantage of what Joey is. Craig is just oh, Joey's my friend, I can do whatever I want. Bro, be that persuasive by your friends to steal a car, bro? Come on. You were just beaten up by your real father the last time, and somebody is giving you a house and a roof and a safe place, and you go and do this. So I'm actually going to give Craig the LVP.
Yeah, that works great because I think having removed Craig from MVP, I can really see how he is definitely more in line for LVP here. He is not the kind of confident and more assured person that we saw earlier, and instead he is easily kind of suggestible from his friends and just making dumb decisions, quickly jumping at the first stage of, okay, I got the house to myself, great, I'm going to fill it up with people, instead of just having some sort of responsibility there. So yeah, definitely I would go that way. It's Craig for LVP.
Plus, why would he keep all 4 tickets? He should have just given the other 3 to his friends too, in case something did happen.
Yeah, it caused them to not be able to go see the kid. It'll be 6 seasons, I think, maybe 4 seasons. I think he comes back. We get to actually see Kid Elric perform.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens with Craig and Joey's relationship after this episode ended here. Well, that's going to do it from us here tonight on the recording side of covering these Degrassi episodes. But before we go, John, do you have anything that you want to direct the listeners to?
I tell you what, I've been spending a lot of time going through some of the great PTB work for 1995. I know, Gurney, you guys just did a piece on Nickelodeon for that, and I'm excited to see some of the retrospectives that come out here. I've got a couple ideas brewing. I'd like to see if we can't get off the ground, but keep your eyes on that if you're interested in the North-South Connection or Place to Be podcast. And yeah, that's my big thing right now.
Yep. And also keep an eye out for 90210 So as we're also getting into the nitty-gritty times of season 3.
Yes, absolutely. I'd be remiss to not mention that. Some memorable and really noteworthy episodes just reviewed on that feed. If you were watching 90210 back then, I'm sure you'll remember these, and taking a trip down memory lane and revisiting them with JT and Tim is always great.
Yep. As for me, you can mostly find me on the Place to Be Nation wrestling feed. I have 2 podcasts over there. One is called Extreme Resurrection, where me and Steve Riddle, we go over ECW on Sci-Fi from 2006 to 2010. We just got out of No Way Out 2008, where Chavo Guerrero defeated CM Punk to retain the ECW title, but CM Punk won a triple threat number 1 contenders match versus Shelton Benjamin and Elijah Burke. So he will have one more match versus Chavo Guerrero for the ECW title. Will Punk get his title back, or will Chavo Guerrero finally retain and put the rivalry to bed? And then I have Nation Invasion, which is a podcast that I do with guests. We cover the invasion angle of WWF in 2001. Myself, Justin Rosero, Marcus Fuller, and Jeremy Nichols, we just recorded the No Mercy 2001 watch along that had that really good triple threat match for the WWF title between Stone Cold Steve Austin, Kurt Angle, and Rob Van Dam. And the WCW title is on the line as Chris Jericho attempts to win the big one versus The Rock. That and much more on No Mercy 2001. And like John said, me and Steve Riddle for the No So 95 project, we deep dove into what was on Nickelodeon at that time in 1995, as we talked about the debut of all that and the ending runs for Legends of the Hidden Temple, Guts, and Ren and Stimpy. And we also went over the winners of the Kids' Choice Awards in 1995 as well. Well, that's going to do it from us here on Pop Goes Degrassi. He's John Kesselika. I'm James Gruenberg, and we will see you next time.